Hello, all you drugged up rage soldiers out there, and welcome to Undeclared Bajor.
Good band name, Drugged Up Rage Soldiers.
Ooh. My name is Fletcher, about to say hello is Data.
Yo!
Today, we're going to recap and discuss Star Trek DS9, Season 5, Episode 24, Empok Nor. Alternate title, What We Do in the Shadows.
Okay, yeah. I see it.
Just in case this is your first time watching Star Trek DS9, we will attempt to only discuss spoilers up through this episode, but proceed at your own risk. Spoilers do happen. For all kinds of stuff.
Yep. We're going to spoil so much, you won't even believe it.
I haven't watched anything lately that I feel like I could spoil, but we'll find a way. Empok Nor originally aired on May 19th, 1997. It was written by Hans Beimler, story by Brian Fuller, creator of the Hannibal TV show, which I mentioned for no particular reason, and directed by Michael Did we ever decide how to pronounce this guy's name? Vehar?
I think it's Vehar, yeah.
Which I believe this is his second directing credit on Deep Space Nine, because I only remember trying to pronounce that name once before.
Here, let's find out real quick. I'll click on him.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, Vehar, what do you got? He did 7 episodes of Deep Space Nine, and this is, in fact, the second one.
Excellent.
Oh, yeah, because the last one was The Darkness and the Light, which wasn't that also like a Brian Fuller? Yeah, that was another story by Brian Fuller.
So the Brian and Michael team up.
I guess so.
And Sarah Lofton is not in this episode, we think.
Yeah. The wiki doesn't say that, but we didn't remember seeing him.
Neither one of us remembers seeing him, so I think he was not in the episode.
So, Brian Fuller is credited with the story, but apparently his original pitch was Worf and Garrick are on a runabout, and they come across a derelict ship, and they board it, and it turns out that it was an Obsidian Order vessel, and there's bodies all over the place, and while they try to figure out what happened, Garrick suddenly turns on Worf and tries to kill him. Fuller compared this idea to the 1978 film Blue Sunshine.
Huh.
Which I now...
I've never heard of it, but...
know more about. Hold on. Blue Sunshine film. I don't want to just see Blue Sunshine. 1977 horror film. A series of random murders in Los Angeles in which the only common link between the perpetrators is a mysterious batch of LSD they had all taken years prior.
Ooh.
So I guess that's some really bad LSD, but the effects don't show up for a while.
It turns you homicidal 5 years later.
Oh, Blue Sunshine is the name of the LSD, I guess.
Sure. Yeah,
okay.
I assumed. So that was his whole pitch was...
Yeah.
And I assume it turned the whole, rage serum or whatever aspect was the same.
One would think. It doesn't say that in here, but I imagine. And so, after that, Hans Beimler takes a first pass at it. And it sounds like most of the story beats in the first draft are the same, but it doesn't have any... It says there's no mention of, It doesn't feature any of the various exchanges between O'Brien and Garrick. There's no mention of Set 3, no, rivalry building. And nobody seemed to like that draft. Andrew J. Robinson said, after I finished that draft, I thought, ugh. I felt like the writers were intruding on Garrick. I never could have done that first script. We were vacuums. There was nothing in my character. It made no sense. And then Ira Stephen Bear is like, yeah, I told Hans, this doesn't work. Not even close. There's no character, no meaning. It's just a series of events, and none of them make sense. And then Beimler goes, I thought it was there after I did the first draft, but there was no bottom to the story. The second draft got into the relationship between O'Brien and Garrick, and that really gave it some substance and content. So,
yeah, this O'Brien Garrick relationship,
the most important part of the episode,
right? So we begin with Kira, Dax, and Worf, who coincidentally are exactly the main characters who don't have any scenes for the rest of the episode.
Yeah, it's like not like they only show up in this part of the episode, and then Bashir only shows up at the end of the episode. So it's like a lot of people not doing much.
Yep. So yeah, they walk into Quark's, who coincidentally also doesn't have any scenes for the rest of the episode. They are awkwardly greeted by Quark, who tries to rush them into placing an order, but before they can, they are drowned out by loud construction noises. Quark tries to play like he can't hear the noise with his super Ferengi ears. But the three are not fooled, especially Worf, who gives Quark just the best dude come on stare. Quark says that Chief O'Brien and Nog are repairing a plasma conduit, and the noise isn't so bad once you get used to it. But it's too late. They all head off to the Klingon restaurant.
I mean, he's a Ferengi. The noise has got to be worse for him.
Oh, yeah. Well, I mean, later we see him, like, grabbing his ears when the noise goes off, so it must have really been paining him to pretend not to notice it. So Nog shows up and says they're still working, but first he needs a couple of root beers. And I like that this show has just decided that root beer is the quintessential human drink.
If you drink that, you're a human. No doubt.
Yep. And that's a wrap on Quark, Dax, Kira, and Worf. And they couldn't even find a way to wedge Jake into that scene.
Well, I mean, Sisko doesn't get any much more, so...
Yeah. Up in the plasma conduit, Nog assists the Chief with the repair by handing him various tools, even anticipating what tool he'll need next. And people needing tools is a recurring thing this episode.
Yep.
Soon the Chief announces all fixed, and the two sit back to admire their work. Then they get sprayed with what I assume is some kind of horrible toxic gas.
Yeah, the rest of it is actually just like a horrible dream that they have while like in the infirmary trying to recover from this.
Yeah, they're basically in a Whispers situation, or whatever that episode was. Distant Voices.
Distant Voices, that's
Whispers
right.
was the one where O'Brien kept seeing the future, or whatever.
Yeah. Distant Voices is the dumb one.
Yeah. Cut to the Chief in Captain Sisko's office explaining that the whole plasma distribution manifold is busted beyond repair. Sisko asks if it can be replicated. No, you moron, says O'Brien. It uses a beta matrix compositor. Do you even know how replicators work? But O'Brien has a bright idea. You see, there's an abandoned Cardassian space station that's the same design as Deep Space Nine. They could go over there and strip it for parts. Okay, just be careful, says Odo, who's also here for some reason. Cardassians like to booby-trap stuff, and they tend to use traps that only affect non-Cardassians.
Yeah, that's lucky. I'm sure there's no Cardassians who would ever want to show up and strip your station for stuff that they could sell.
They don't mind. They don't mind regular Cardassian pirates. They just but they can't. They're xenophobic. This is established this episode. Sisko's like, well, obviously sending a crew to the derelict booby-trap space station is the best option here. Just make sure to bring a Cardassian along. Chief O'Brien is like, good idea. Also, it would probably be helpful to have someone with shape-shifting ability. Well, says Odo, I gotta go do security stuff. Have fun with your mission, Chief. Cut to the airlock where Garrick and O'Brien board a runabout. Yep, this is a runabout mission, not a Defiant mission, apparently.
They've been bringing those back the last couple episodes. Sisko used one to go to the Badlands, too.
Yeah.
Gotta get some runabout action in there.
Things would... Man, just imagine if they'd used the Defiant for this, mission into, possibly hostile territory.
Well, yeah, but then it would have gotten blown up or something.
You think they would have just as easily,
No, I don't.
Bombed the Defiant? But yeah, Garrick explains that he got bribed into going with the promise of more shop space for his dressmaking equipment, which I can't even tell if he's being serious or not.
Right, yeah, that sounds like it should be a joke. But he's like, yeah, the newest dressmaking equipment is surprisingly bulky. And I'm like, that's... You're joking? No, you're not joking. Okay, all right.
You know what? Okay, I'll roll with it. Also along for the adventure are... I'm seeing double. 4 Munizes. They are a little nervous about all this talk of booby traps, rightfully so. And the last member of the Fellowship of the Beta Matrix Compositor, Nog, with his backpack and phaser rifle.
I mean, I feel like he turns out to be in the right here, so they all make fun of him, but...
On their journey, Garrick tries to teach Nog a Cardassian board game, but is frustrated with Nog's decidedly Ferengi playstyle.
I mean, I don't know what you expected, dude.
This is a game of bold strategy and decisive action, like Chief O'Brien took at the Battle of Setlik III, the iconic event in O'Brien's past that just seems to keep growing. Like, at this point, he's... Like, I think back in Next Gen, it was just like this horrible thing that happened to him, and at this point, he's like, I don't know. He like single-handedly wiped out an entire Cardassian army by himself or something.
Yeah, it just keeps getting bigger and bigger for him. So, I mean, good on you, O'Brien.
Sure.
You deserve recognition or something, I guess.
But O'Brien doesn't want to think about that. He's not a soldier anymore. Well, why are you and Dr. Bashir always spending so much time in the holosuite, says Garrick. Hey, how do you know about that, says O'Brien.
Everybody knows about that, dude.
I thought you were doing battle stuff? Oh, right, good point. Yeah, you got me there, but that's just a game. Well, so is Kotra. And we should play sometime. But he says it in a much creepier way than I could ever depict.
I mean, yeah, you can't be as creepy as him, sorry.
He's like, we should... And I'm not clear why he's being so weird and creepy and antagonistic towards O'Brien at this point in the story.
It does seem a little bit out of place. Like, he's coming on real strong. Maybe he just, like, with Bashir, he takes, like, the cute tack of, you know, like, trying to entice him with, like, these little tidbits of lies. Maybe he recognizes that O'Brien, it won't go as well with him. So he's like, I got to take a different approach to, like... piss off O'Brien.
Yeah.
It's like when he was on that trip with Worf and he just goes for the most outrageous lies and keeps pushing until he gets Worf to believe them. He's got a different approach. He wants to piss everybody off in their own special way.
He's just a troll at heart.
He's absolutely a troll. Yep. Okay. Yeah.
So anyway, Blonde Muniz comes in and hands Chief O'Brien the latest list of stuff they want to get. But the chief notices he tried pulling a sneaky and putting some Cardassian emblems and insignia on there.
I mean, did you really need to put that on the list? You're like, I'll get everyone else to do my shopping for me.
I think that's what he wants. He wants everybody to be grabbing these emblems and insignia and like put them in the box, and then he's just gonna like loot the box later.
I like he puts it as, it's like, I mean, if we see some, why not, right? And Orion's like, shut up.
I call him Blonde Muniz, although I can't tell if his hair is blonde or just really light brown. And this episode is so poorly lit, it's hard to get a good read.
There's not a lot of light, it's true.
They arrive at Empok Nor and find that it is apparently at a different angle to everything else in the entire Star Trek universe. So this, I think, once and for all settles the question of how come ships are always like lined up perfectly when they meet. I just think everything stays at that one angle.
Maybe. Or maybe they just chose to make this one look weird.
Maybe.
Like, it's actually at the same angle as everything else, but they tilted the camera this time to give you that off-kilter
feel. On their view screen, they tilted the camera.
Exactly, yeah.
Maybe that's the whole thing, is the view screen camera is just, like, out of whack. It's like somebody bumped it and it's, like, tilty now.
They need to fix that later. That's actually what causes the runabout to blow up. It's like a short in the view screen.
It was all a big misunderstanding.
Yeah.
Like that movie, what was that movie called? The Death Game or something?
Mm.
Spoilers, if that's the correct title of that movie. Okay, let's beam aboard, says the chief. Hold on, says Garrick. Do you remember that episode where Dax and Worf tried beaming up that friend of Kira's and she turned into a horrible smoking skeleton? Okay, good point, says O'Brien.
I'd kind of forgotten about that, but yeah, no, that's bad.
Let's go in through the upper pylon instead. And maybe we can have a picnic up there when we're done. So they send Garrick over to the airlock in a spacesuit to clear any booby traps, after it's determined that he's probably a better candidate than Nog.
I mean, yeah, Nog is just so eager to volunteer. Yeah. Even though the whole point of bringing Garrick was... I mean, maybe Nog wasn't involved in that part of the discussion, but...
Yeah, it could be. Yeah, Garrick's like, this is the whole reason I'm here, so I guess I better do it. Once he's in there, Garrick flips what I guess is the main circuit breaker for the entire station, turning on all lights and gravity. And some mysterious pods. We push in on the window of one of the pods and see a Cardassian eye open. The rest of the crew board the station and split up into teams to find stuff to loot. I mean, salvage.
I mean, tomato, tomato.
But there's only one Garrick, so the rest of you just, be careful. While looking around, Garrick accidentally touches some blue goo that was just smeared on a staircase for some reason.
It was LSD, apparently.
Yep.
I mean, yeah, you point out a good point about Garrick. It's like, they brought him to trigger the booby traps. So were there only booby traps at the, dock or the whatever? And then they're good?
I mean, they said scan every room before you go in there. So,
yeah.
I don't know if that would be enough, but nobody died from booby traps anyway. So yeah, Garrick and the Bolian Muniz go check out the infirmary, where they find the mystery pods, 2 empty, 1 with a dead guy in it. And they find an insignia. 3rd Battalion, First Order. Blonde Muniz is going to love this. Meanwhile, Nog is not as Johnny on the spot with the tools as he was earlier, and has to run back to the runabout to get something.
It's a pretty big oversight to not have brought this tool, dude.
Yeah, come on.
What are you doing?
Garrick calls O'Brien and asks him to come to the infirmary. There's something you have to see. Well, can you just tell me what it is? If
No.
It's so important?
Never.
Up in the upper pylon, Nog arrives at the airlock and sees the runabout just floating away. Huh. There's something weird about this, says Nog. Then the runabout explodes. Yeah, this is definitely off, says Nog. Everybody meets up in the infirmary to size up the situation. They have no runabout, and there's 2 guys from the notorious 3rd Battalion running around. Death to all is their motto.
Good motto. Solid. No confusion there.
Yeah. Just steer clear of these guys. These are not the guys doing toys for tots.
I mean, they could also be doing that, but then they would kill those tots or something, I guess, because they're part of all.
Right. Oh, also there's a dampening field, so their tricorders aren't working. The consequences of this dampening field are never made clear, and it's never brought up again, and they spend the rest of the episode using all their electronics normally with no issues.
Yep.
But the subspace transponder is gone, so they have no way of contacting Deep Space Nine. Unless they send smoke signals. Good idea, says the chief. We can do some stuff to the deflector array and turn it into a telegraph. Just like putting air into a balloon.
And then something bad happens.
That was just the most just like putting an air into a balloon scene I've ever seen. They get to work on this plan. Garrick wonders why the Cardassians would leave behind 2 guys in stasis pods, a question which is never satisfactorily answered, or at least in my opinion.
It is, yeah, no. I mean, they try to sort of give it an answer, but it's like, I mean, you could have just killed him or something.
Right. As they talk, Nog comes 1 step away from getting ambushed by one of the Cardassians, but the chief calls him away, and he's saved. Elsewhere, Lady Muniz is exercising very poor muzzle discipline around Blonde Muniz. When they get a visit from a phantom turbolift. But it turns out to be nothing. Lady Muniz heads away, but Blonde Muniz gets distracted by the most beautiful thing he's ever seen. A big, giant insignia. He's like, oh my god, look at that insignia. And he, slowly approaches it in, reverent awe.
I mean, you could replicate this stuff, right? I mean, whatever.
Yeah, I feel like collectors probably prefer not to just replicate stuff.
Well, yeah, I'm sure, but it's like, that stuff was replicated originally. It's not like...
Unless it's got beta matrix in it, or whatever.
Yeah, true, fair.
But yeah, as he's walking toward the big giant insignia, a Cardassian jumps through a window or something, I couldn't quite see what it was, and kills him. And then the same or possibly a different Cardassian jumps Lady Muniz and throws her off a balcony. The others find the bodies and are like, okay, this isn't great. Bolian Muniz is a little scared, and the chief offers to pair him up with Garrick, but Garrick wants to go off and diehard the Cardassian guys. Or reverse diehard them, or whatever is going on here.
I mean, really, he's probably got the best plan, as opposed to, just wait until they kill us.
Yeah. But he's acting a little twitchy and scratchy. Bald Muniz tries to stop Garrick by pointing a phaser at him, establishing, I guess, the animosity between Garrick and this guy.
I don't know. This guy seems kind of racist anyway.
Yeah. But the chief is like, no, I'm kind of into this kill the people trying to kill us idea. Garrick invites the chief to come along, but he's like, nah, you got this. I got stuff to do.
Yeah, he's got very important things to do.
Garrick goes to the infirmary and loudly uses the computer while scratching and talking to himself. He's approached by a not very stealthy Cardassian who comes to look around the infirmary, but there's no Garrick. Oh no, wait, surprise, he's in the stasis pod. He pops out and kills the Cardassian guy. And it feels good. Garrick goes to where O'Brien and Nog are and demonstrates his creepy sneaking skills.
I mean, he's good.
Yeah. He gives O'Brien the dead guy's insignia. Then he says he analyzed the body and found that it was dosed with some kind of psychotropic drug laced with proteins designed to amplify Cardassian xenophobic tendencies. Wow, impressive autopsy skills. I guess it was a Cardassian super soldier program that went horribly wrong, and they just left the test subjects behind in stasis for some reason.
Because why not?
Garrick goes off to creepily spy on Bald Muniz and Bolian Muniz. Bolian Muniz tells a story about being an angry customer at Garrick's, and Bald Muniz talks about wanting to kill the last Cardassian guy with Lady Muniz's favorite karate move.
Yeah, apparently, I guess it's like this scene, but the episode was quite controversial among producers because there was a racial slur made by a member of Starfleet. Something...
Against a Cardassian?
Yeah. Something to which Gene Roddenberry would have been aghast. When Amaro is talking about Stoltzov, he comments that he wants to kill the spoonhead who killed her.
Man, whatever happened to the morals of Starfleet?
Well, so apparently, according to Renee Echevarria, the line was not in the script and had not been approved by the producers. But this was because it was considered background dialogue, which is not written in the script. All background dialogue is created on the ADR looping stage after the episode has been shot and is not approved by the producers. Usually because such dialogue is barely audible, if at all. In this particular case, however, the line could be clearly heard.
Yeah, I could hear that entire conversation, so...
And it says one of Roddenberry's most important maxims was, there is no racism in Starfleet. So the worry was that this line was going against one of the basic principles of Star Trek. However, when Ira Behr and Rick Berman did hear the line finally, they chose to leave it in, as they felt it illustrated the pressure of the situation and was appropriate given the circumstances. As Echevarria says, it was racist, but it was also very real.
Well, not every episode can be the first freestanding ladder episode.
It's true. I mean, the first racial slur episode, that seems pretty, by Starfleet. That same slur was used previously by Bajorans, but they just don't know better yet, so.
Right.
But yeah, I love that it's like, oh, this goes against the very fabric of what Star Trek is about. And Ira Stephen Behr and Rick Berman are like, yeah, but it's fine.
Yeah, leave it in. It's cool. So if it was just meant to be background dialogue, what was the scene supposed to be like?
Yeah, right?
Was it just supposed to be Garrick creeping around and then we hear this barely audible dialogue? Anyway, Bolian Muniz asks Bald Muniz to get him a coil spanner. And while Bald Muniz is digging around in the toolbox, the bad Cardassian guy comes and steps on Bolian Muniz's neck to death. He lifts his gun and is about to shoot Bald Muniz, but Garrick comes up behind him and shoots him in the back. The safest way to shoot somebody. Bald Muniz is amazed, but then Garrick takes the tool he was holding and is like, this isn't a coil spanner. And then stabs Bald Muniz with it. It's a flux coupler. And then he runs off.
That's the saddest part is, that's not even a coil spanner.
That's really the saddest part?
Apparently.
Not the part where, the guy stepped on his windpipe until his neck broke. Which, is this one of those scenes where, the bone snapping was removed from the British version?
Oh, maybe. It doesn't mention that, but I could totally see that.
Because every time someone breaks their neck, you always have that note.
Not this time. This time the Brits got to have some neck breaking, maybe. Who knows?
I'm sure, lots of British people were just like shocked and fainting and throwing up when they heard that sound.
Probably, those Brits and their classically weak constitutions, or I don't know.
Hello to all our British listeners.
I hope that we're not making you throw up.
Snap. Oh no.
So it says the type of suit worn by Garak in this episode was designed for Star Trek First Contact.
What? Oh, the spacesuit.
Oh, okay, the spacesuit.
Yeah, I totally noticed that. I was like,
what spacesuit?
In fact, I was actually expecting you to say like that was Worf's spacesuit from Star Trek First Contact or something.
Oh, that would be funny. It made the type of suit made several later appearances in Star Trek Voyager.
Sure.
Also, the new Type 3 phaser rifle, also designed for First Contact, made its only appearance on Deep Space Nine in this episode.
Oh wow! I'm assuming that was Nogg's, right?
Yeah, it must be the one that Nog was carrying. Although I'm surprised that we don't see it again.
Yeah. I don't know. Well, I mean, it's not like they're going to be like doing a lot of fighting in the future. So.
Oh, probably not. It's just spoilers for the future episodes. No more phaser rifle.
Yeah, it's pretty peaceful. Although I did not recognize that rifle at all because in Nogg's hands it looks enormous.
You're not wrong.
So O'Brien and Nog find Bald Muniz bleeding in the corridor. Bald Muniz tells them that Garak stabbed him, and also that totally was a coil spanner. He doesn't know what Garak is talking about.
That would be funny.
Then he dies, having fulfilled his last service to the plot. Now only O'Brien and Nog remain. Oh, the psychotropic drug. In hindsight, we should have noticed the signs, says the chief.
Yeah, probably.
Then he says, let's go kill Garak, in a really creepy way, making me wonder if he also got some blue goo on him. He's like, yeah, Garak's right. We gotta kill Garak. I'm like, you okay there, Chief?
I mean, did you bring enough LSD for everybody? Let's do this.
Then Garak calls them and announces that he's in the commander's office and just found a Kotra board. And then he starts villain monologuing, and I don't even want to summarize all this stuff he rants about. Nog and O'Brien go up to Ops, and oh my goodness, it was an ambush. Garak traps O'Brien in the commander's office and grabs Nog and drags him off. Garak does more rambling about killing and games and Setlik 3, and is just generally unhinged. He agrees to a final man-to-man showdown on the promenade with no weapons. The chief heads down to the promenade where he finds the hanging bodies of all the Munizes. And Garak holding Nog at phaser point, demanding that O'Brien drop all his weapons. So O'Brien drops his rifle, and also his tricorder and hand phaser, which he places in a very particular looking configuration. But
yeah, it's very obvious that something is going on.
Garak, the master of Kotra, doesn't think anything is weird about this. O'Brien and Garak start duking it out, and Garak clearly has the upper hand. He taunts O'Brien that maybe he's not a soldier after all, and O'Brien says, "You're right. I'm an engineer," and hits his comm badge, blowing up his tricorder and knocking Garak out. Back at Deep Space Nine, Dr. Bashir gets all the drugs out of Garak's system. Bashir says that Garak was not in control and is therefore in no way responsible for all the stuff he did. So just don't even think about that.
All those murders, not his fault. Not like all of the murders that he committed before that on his own. These were different murders.
Right. Although technically he only did one murder. Unless you count the Cardassians that he shot in the back. But
well, no, I mean like in his previous life as an Obsidian Order operative since then.
But I mean, yeah. Like, the only murder he did of people we were supposed to like is that one guy.
Oh, okay, well.
That he stabbed. O'Brien goes to talk to Garak and tells him they got the plasma manifold, so mission success, in case you were worried about that. Oh, also there's going to be an inquest, because, the stuff.
The stuff.
Garak says, hey, can you go to that guy I stabbed's wife and tell her, my bad? Sure, that sounds fun, says the chief. I absolutely will be doing that. Also tell her I'm sorry for gaslighting him into thinking the coil spanner was a flux coupler. And he's like...
You're really not going to let that one go.
And he's like, Well, if I'd been any closer to that improvised bomb, you would have killed me. Well, says the chief, don't take this the wrong way, but that's what I was trying to do. Oh, no, absolutely. That was totally the right thing, for sure. I mean, all good. Yeah.
He's like, good, really good move, actually. I'm impressed. Yeah.
Then O'Brien and Garrick just look at each other awkwardly, and O'Brien's like, okay, well, bye. And then he walks off. The end.
I really love the moment of like, no, I'm not a soldier. I'm an engineer. And like, but I feel like the episode could have built to that better than it does.
Yeah, I mean, we could talk about that more in reviews, but I felt that whole aspect of it was a little forced and weak. Almost like it was a rewrite or something.
So, other notes here. Andrew Robinson, though he was happier with the second draft than the first one, he still was not thrilled with this project. He says, it turned out okay, but it made me uneasy to do that character. And then the wiki goes on to explain that Robinson's breakout performance had been as the Scorpio Killer in the 1971 film Dirty Harry.
Uh-huh.
For some years after that performance, he fought against being typecast as a psychopathic killer, and was a little disappointed to see now, 25 years later, that he was presented with the Deep Space Nine script where he was a psychopathic killer.
Yeah, that Quentin Tarantino book I read, Cinema Speculation, talks about that.
Oh, yeah?
How, like, after Dirty Harry, there was a lot of backlash against Dirty Harry, and against him in particular for being kind of like they felt it was like a villain designed to represent, like, liberal hippies or something. And Quentin Tarantino was like, that's totally not fair. Like, that was, like, the best performance in the movie. But after that, he had so much trouble, like, getting, like, acting work and stuff. So, I can totally see where he's coming from, like, not wanting to play, like, a psycho, like, you know, whatever he was.
Yeah. Nobody wants to be typecast. Being on Star Trek does not usually help you avoid the typecasting, though.
Right. As many Star Trek actors learn, usually late.
Yep. The next note, though, is Beimler would later recollect on the episode, I really liked Empok Nor. I fought tooth and nail for that one, and it was worth it for nothing else than to reset the clock on Garrick. I thought we could make a great ghost story and do a really scary episode. There are some things in the script that didn't make it to the final show that I miss, but I thought the creepy factor was there. I don't know what reset the clock on Garrick means exactly, but
yeah, did we need to do that? Or
apparently.
This Garrick guy is too interesting. Can we, like, make him into a weird psycho for an episode?
But there's a note in here that there's a novel that was published 18 months before this episode aired called Station Rage, where Odo and Miles O'Brien accidentally discover a room full of Cardassian soldiers in stasis, and Garrick later awakens them. So
that's a little suspicious.
That is slightly suspicious, yes.
And I'm guessing that book was not written by Hans Beimler or Brian Fuller.
No, it wasn't. It was written by Diane Carey, who has done several Star Trek books, if I remember correctly. Yeah, several.
Well, we all know that Deep Space Nine has a really unimpeachable reputation for where they get their ideas.
Yeah.
So
they never just like watch a movie the night before and decide to turn that into an episode.
The whole show wasn't suspiciously ripped off from another show that was pitched.
Yeah, no, never happened.
Yeah.
The final note in here is, with its focus on the lower ranked members of the away team, this episode bears some resemblance to the episode of The Next Generation, Lower Decks.
Uh-huh.
Which, I mean, I guess a little bit.
Yeah, except for the, like, you know, relating to and caring about the characters part.
Yeah, no, we just have a bunch of red shirts.
Uh-huh.
So, regardless of what color shirt they actually wear.
No, it was like, I saw those four guys. I was like, huh?
It's like, 3 main characters and 4 people you've never seen before go on an away mission. Who comes back?
It was like that episode of Futurama. It's like, one of these people will die. It's like all the main characters and one random person you've never seen before. Yeah, and it was like, just the more they tried to endear them to us and Chief O'Brien, the more the ghost of Muniz was appearing in front of me. And it really made me think, is working for Chief O'Brien the most dangerous job?
Maybe that's why he never has,
right.
anybody else working for him, is they just keep dying mysteriously.
Yeah, that was another thing. I was like, now he has guys?
Yeah, now that we need red shirts to kill off.
Like, he's not going around fixing everything by himself now?
I didn't mention it when we got there, but that does remind me that they go about this in the stupidest way possible. Like, they take the time to make the list of must-have, could use, would be nice. Like, these 3 categories. But instead of, going after all of the must-haves first, O'Brien's like, I'll do the must-haves, you guys do the could use, and you other guys do the would be nice. I'm like, but that's the worst way to do this.
That's a good point. What's even the point of prioritizing the list like that?
Yeah.
Did he just send his least competent people after the nice to haves or whatever?
I think actually he did, because it's one guy and Garrick, you go after this last list, and while 2 or 3 guys go after the middle list, and I will go after the most important list. So I feel like he's just like, I don't trust you guys to get the important stuff right. But I was still just like, this is not how you do this. You split up the important list first, and then you split up the next important. It's not hard.
It's like, okay, here's must-have list A, here's must-have list B, here's must-have list C. Okay, everybody split up and take care of this, and then we'll meet up, and then decide if we still have time to go get stuff.
I wonder how much stuff they managed to get, because we do know that they got that one thing that they came for, because O'Brien's like, oh, hey, by the way, we got that one thing.
Yep.
But presumably they had to wait a while before rescue came, after they finished Garrick off and, I don't know, tied him up or something. So did O'Brien turn to Nog and go like, well, I guess let's get all that stuff on the list.
Right. They just kind of went around stripping the station while Garrick was tied to a chair or something.
It would have been smart.
I mean, I'm not sure this was the best way to solve this problem. There must have been some alternate engineering solution. Get Rom, who's an expert at blending, different kinds of technology together to patch up a new plasma manifold system or something.
Yeah, the thing is, it's not a long-term solution, because the next time this breaks, what are you going to do?
Right.
So really refitting, just completely redoing the whole thing so that it works with a system that you can replicate or easily fix. Even if it was a much bigger lift now, long-term would be a better idea.
I mean, maybe they just needed the replacement part as a stopgap or something while they could figure that out. But, there didn't seem to be that much urgency to it, so...
I mean, yeah, the station was functioning without it for now, I guess, while you guys are off doing stuff.
Yeah. All right, so jump into reviews.
Let's review this. What did you think of Empok Nor?
All right, so much like Chief O'Brien, I've broken this down into 3 lists. Likes, meh, and dislikes. So, likes, I like the concept of a creepy, haunted, abandoned Deep Space Nine clone. And I like attempting something different and doing some light genre bending. All that I like in concept, anyway. Meh, for me, is the whole Lower Decks ripoff, which we talked about.
Well, because, yeah, like you said, they didn't put much effort into making you care.
And also, like we talked about, the O'Brien used to be a soldier, but now he's an engineer thing. Which could be actually kind of a cool little character story for him, but it was just like, you used to be a soldier. Well, I'm not anymore. You used to be a soldier. Oh, well, you used to be a soldier, but now I'm an engineer. I don't know. Like I said, kind of weak, kind of forced, kind of strained. Dislikes drugged up villain Garrick. But that's so dumb, I almost come back around to liking it. And, Andrew Robinson, whatever you say, he commits, so.
Yep.
It makes it kind of enjoyable to watch, as much as I hate the whole, person not being themselves thing, but at least he's not under the curse of an ancient sword. But it's still pretty bad.
I mean, this is better than that just because there's an actual reason, not just oh, this sword's so awesome that we're all going to turn into assholes.
I don't know. It's it's one thing to be for what was that episode where aliens possessed O'Brien and Troy and...
Oh, yeah, hold on. We've talked about this one before.
Yeah.
I searched for it's Power Play.
Okay, yeah.
But I searched for aliens possess Troy, and the first thing that comes up is a Trek BBS post. Counselor Troy, perpetually possessed?
Huh. But that's that's always fun because in no way is it those characters, and it's you kind of get to see those actors try something fun and different.
Mm-hmm.
And then you got stuff like the Sword of Kahless or whatever, where it's this makes no sense and I hate it and it's uncomfortable and these aren't the characters I know. And I feel like when they're on psychotropic drugs or whatever, that's closer to the second one than to the first one. So, I'm because it's kind of saying this is inside Garrick somewhere. This weird, movie villain guy. And they kind of, they didn't use it to its full potential. Because, for all his talk about, strategy and Kotra and stuff, he never really does anything that makes me think, oh, this is, oh, what if Garrick really did turn evil? That'd be super dangerous. If it's the Garrick we know.
Mm-hmm.
But these drugs also seem to have stupidified him, so it kind of takes away any of the actual scary element of that or really interesting element of that. And then finally, I for some reason just wasn't very fond of the drugged up soldiers angle in general. I think it would have been better if they fought mutant voles or a rogue AI controlling the station or something. That would have been way more fun.
All right.
I don't know why I thought of mutant voles. I was just because I think they joked about it in the episode. In fact, that would have been great. It's I bet those voles, they're mutants now. And then they get there and there really are mutant voles all over the station.
I'm just trying to imagine what these mutant voles, are they have they evolved into humanoid super intelligent voles?
Yeah, I think kind of like Ninja Turtles, but maybe not quite up to human intelligence, but something in that area. I don't know.
Okay.
Anyway, so I don't know. The thing there's a lot that I don't like about the episode, but the thing is, it always has a little something that keeps me enjoying it. Even though a lot of times I feel like it's in the way they probably didn't intend. But so I think, it's definitely a positive, but I don't think I can bring it up to a full commander. Okay. So I'm just going to give it a lieutenant commander.
Okay, fair enough.
So what do you think?
All right, so I agree with you on a lot of the ideas about ways that it could have been better. I don't know about the mutant voles, but generally speaking, I feel like they opened these avenues, like I said, like you mentioned with the O'Brien soldier, engineer, whatever. They could have done that better. Uh-huh. They could have driven that home in a little better, so that at the end, when you get the jab, you're like, oh yeah, what they've been building to the whole episode works.
Uh-huh.
And it was strategic and whatever. And I also agree that drugged up Garrick comes across as almost less threatening, even though he's out there murdering people, because he just doesn't seem as smart as he usually is.
Uh-huh.
All that being said, I actually really love the episode. This is maybe one of my favorites because of that. Because like you said, Andrew Robinson, he just brings it.
Sure.
And he goes all the way for it, no matter what they have him doing, and it works. So we always know that Garrick there automatically is bumping the episode up some.
Sure.
But I think that they do a good job with the creepy. And you mentioned like this alternate haunted Deep Space Nine is just a fun concept.
Right.
And I thought they did a good job of visually making it creepy, both in the way that things were lit, in the way things were set up, in the way that they do the camera work and things. I feel like they did a good job of creepifying it and giving it that atmosphere that you're really worried. I'd be more worried about our main characters if we didn't have all these convenient red shirts to kill off. So that, Nog and O'Brien can survive. But whatever.
Sure.
The drugged up super soldiers that are left there, as we've established, make no sense. And that's another aspect of the episode that I feel like is not used to its full potential. I like the idea of you've got these scary soldiers and Garrick's like, I'm going to go off and get them. And then people start dying. And the twist is, oh no, Garrick took care of those soldiers almost immediately. It's Garrick who's been killing them. Like, that's a good freaky twist.
Uh-huh.
They could have played that better. But you still get a little bit. And so anyway, there's a lot of nitpicks that I have on the episode, a lot of stuff that could have been done better. But overall, I just like the feel of it. This is an episode that I watch over and over again because it's a ride that I'm enjoying. Like, they're doing something different, and I think that atmospherically they're doing a really good job of it. And the acting is good. The script just could have been better in a lot of ways.
Sure.
Maybe he should have had a third draft. I don't know.
Yeah.
So for me, this is a captain. This is like right up there with my favorite episodes of the show.
All right. I mean, it is impressive that they built sets for a whole new space station. No, you're talking about the Chief O'Brien journey, and it seems like a real missed opportunity looking back on it. That because the whole time he's basically mentoring Nog, right? And Nog is in the place where he's kind of deciding what he wants to do in Starfleet.
Mm-hmm.
So you could have Nog being like, just I don't like this, just sitting around the station all day fixing stuff. And then O'Brien could be like, look, trust me, you don't want to be the guy like out there on the front lines, like fighting. Or, you don't want to be the guy out there like killing. There's no glory in that. Like you want to be the guy who fixes stuff. That's where the real rewarding work is. And then kind of like, I don't know, doing it kind of through Nog's eyes like that. And then when you see at the end, when Chief O'Brien solves the problem by being an engineer, not a soldier, it's like that would make it land a lot better, I think, or something like that.
I didn't think about that, but that's a good point. That you could even have Nog. Like, I don't want to. Nog in the past has established like he worries about becoming his dad, and now his dad is an engineer, which he's proud of him for like what he's done. But at the same time, he could still have that lingering like, I don't want to be my dad.
Yeah, sure. And
so you could totally play up, and then this is what brings him around to be like, look what engineers can do.
Yeah. So, but again, as we learned, it was a rewrite, so I think that might have been like a more fundamental rewrite than they were prepared to do or something.
Yeah.
Otherwise, I almost don't quite understand the point of having Nog in the episode, but I mean, I think it would have been cool just to have all the main characters and they don't die, they disappear or something like that. And they get trapped in like the mutant vole nest or something. I don't know. You could have brought the main characters and like you said, they disappear, they get taken out,
And then at the end, they're all hanging there, like at the ending, and
you're
like, oh my gosh, are they dead? And then it turns out, oh no, they're not dead. But
right.
That honestly might have felt a little bit too convenient. That it's like, oh, he didn't kill them. But
I think I would have forgiven them. But
yeah,
we'll move on to title review, which I don't think will take long.
No, I mean, when you say this title, I know. Right. I know what episode we're talking about.
There's no mistaking what episode this is. So
no, yeah. I mean, it's not particularly clever, I guess, because it's just the name of a place.
Well, I was thinking, what if Empok Nor is Cardassian for something thematically relevant or something like that?
Oh, that could be funny.
Yeah. Maybe
we don't know what it means, if anything, but
we'll never know. Unless there's like a Cardassian dictionary out there somewhere.
Maybe.
Oh.
Hold on. What does Terok Nor mean? Maybe you could find out from that.
I mean, I assume Nor means station or something, but...
Okay, so in Star Trek Deep Space, we find out that the Cardassian name for the station is Terok Nor. Later, in the Maquis Part 1, they used a proto-matter implosion device to destroy the Bak Nor. Then in Empok Nor, we learn that you have a twin to the station. So, do we know enough Cardassian language to know what the word Nor means in Cardassian? The Bak Nor was a freighter. Empok Nor and Terok Nor are mining stations. So maybe it means ore, this person says. And somebody else says maybe it refers to mining because the Bak Nor was a carrying ore. Producers have never explicitly defined the word Nor, but there's evidence to suggest it doesn't mean station.
Really?
Note that the Newsgroup dictionary in Rand al'Thor's answer is just fan war. Okay. Bak Nor. I mean, yeah, Bak Nor maybe is what they're pointing to. That it's clearly not a station. I suspect Nor refers to mining ore. According to Memory Alpha, very little is known about the Cardassian language other than some proper nouns, such as places or people. Nor carried connotations of either station or base, since both Terok Nor and Empok Nor had this word in their names.
Maybe it designates something that belongs to the military or the government or something?
I don't know. I mean, I feel like the Cardassian military led the government for a long time. I feel like most things would belong to them.
I mean, it could be their equivalent of like USS or something, and they just use it for stations also.
Somebody asked Ronald D. Moore what, like, put that whole thing, like, you know, there was Empok Nor, there was Terok Nor, there was in the Bak Nor in the Maquis. So what does the Cardi word Nor mean? And Ronald D. Moore goes, thingamajig?
I guess that's our canon answer now.
Okay, hold on. And then there's an EU novel, Day of the Vipers, in which the word Terok is the Cardassian military's term for the planet Bajor.
Oh.
So Terok Nor is like that Bajor thing.
Okay. Huh.
Okay, well, there you go.
Okay, then. I guess we can call it there, unless you have any final stuff.
Yeah, no. I think that that's about it.
Yep. So, we thank you for joining us today. If you like this discussion, maybe you'll like our discussion of, what was that Brian Fuller episode? The Light and the Dark? The Darkness and the Light?
Yeah, Darkness and the Light.
Yeah. You can find that in all our past episodes, and maybe future episodes if you're listening in the future, wherever you're listening to this. If you want to leave us comments, you can do that on the YouTube. I guess you have to have a YouTube account to do that, but, you know. Anyway, my name is Fletcher. About to say goodbye as Data.
See ya.
We look forward to seeing you for our next discussion, but remember, don't stand between me and the giant insignia.
The mutant voles?
Ooh. No, do stand between me and those.
Yeah, please.
Who knows?